What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Neil Young's studio catalog. Today, I got another live album, Road Rock Volume 1. I will not be doing Volume 2, doesn't exist. Um, interesting release. Like, I think up until this point, the one thing that you could rely on is that a Neil Young live release was going to be, at least in baseball terms, a triple, if not a home run. Couple grand slams in there. Just for the most part, consistently great, if not epic listens. But this release is just, it's a bizarre one. Like, I don't know. Like looking at the track list, there's a lot of things to like about it. Looking at sort of the versions of the song, like the versions of the songs in that track list, there are things to like about it. But the overall effect of the album is just does not really like resonate with me in some way, and it isn't something I'm compelled to go back and listen to. I do have blepharitis still, so that's why this eye is a little bit smaller, but I'm not wearing sunglasses because I think it looks better. So if it doesn't, let me know. But as far as this album goes, it's only 8 songs, which is there's part of the issue. Almost every other Neil release is like kind of complete shows, and there is a sense of like from start to finish, you're being at a complete show. Even some of the archives things where it'd be like 5 acoustic songs on one side, 5 electric songs from 2 different venues, still seem to have somewhat of a better flow than this album does. So the flow kind of seems off. Setlist integrity is not here. I think a lot of his releases have a lot of both setlist integrity and tour integrity, where the order of the songs might not be all from the same show, but each song would generally be where it was in a show. So late show songs would be at the end of the CD, early show songs would be at the beginning of the CD. Every once in a while he would not stick to that, but for the most part, if you listen to a live Neil CD, you got a really good simulation of what the actual show sounded like. The opening track on here was usually an encore. The opening number on here is the opening number on every single show for this tour, other than the bridge benefit, is like midway through the disc. The songs are just not where they normally would be, other than Tonight's the Night, which is the penultimate song, which was usually like the main set closer before the encores. So it's just weird decisions being made. I don't know if this was a vinyl release. I have the CD. If it was a vinyl release, it makes sense because the opening track is Cowgirl in the Sand. It's like 18 minutes long. You can't have that as the encore number and then have one number after that because you need 20, 25 minutes to a side. So maybe that's the reason Cowgirl in the Sand is the opener. But the opener on every show on this tour, which is on this release, was Motorcycle Mama, which doesn't work as an opener. It's an odd opener. I resequence these and listen to them in the order they would have appeared in the show. Motorcycle Mama is not a good opener. It doesn't, I don't know, it's really weird. It's like we're here, we're in it. It kind of works for this tour because this was a weird tour. Like a lot of new songs, some deep cuts, some just like Winter Long was played almost every time. We got a couple Comes a Time songs and like Motorcycle Mama and Peace of Mind. So it's this really eclectic mix of songs. So the whole show, Motorcycle Mama, kind of works just because the vibe of this tour was kind of weird. But here, I don't know, it's a weird opening song. So the setlist integrity is not there, which I think hurts the flow of the album. Also, I think the sound is kind of bad. I've seen a lot of, it's not bad, I mean, it's a listenable sound, but I've seen a lot of amphitheater shows in my life. I don't know if amphitheaters are big elsewhere than in the States, but like, I don't care where you go. Like any act that's not playing a stadium, if it's the summer, they're playing an amphitheater. You got a 100s to 200s under a pavilion that's covered, and then you got grass out in the open. And I've seen amphitheater shows like, Great Woods, Pine Knob, Deer Creek, Shoreline, Irvine Meadows, that place in Virginia where a friend of mine lost his shoes at a fish show. Take care of your shoes, people. Like all over the country, Deer Creek, I've seen shows. And generally, this sounds like you're sitting in the back of the 100s, in the front of the 200s, and you're just getting that mix. And that mix is generally, the drums have this almost big echoey presence because it's almost like you can hear them bouncing off like the pavilion or the sides of the amphitheater. And then whoever's singing or whoever's soloing, all of a sudden is in the front of the mix. If it's a piano solo, all of a sudden that's bright. And then everything else just kind of gets flattened. And you can hear it, but it's just not too distinct. And it's just kind of like, something's not working. That's the way this sounds. It just, there's an immediacy that's lacking. Not horrible. Like if I was at an amphitheater and my seats were way back in the 200s and this was the sound, I'd probably be happy. But if I'm sitting at home, I've listened to this on headphones, I've listened to this on the stereo recently. I've done every single version to see if like the sound got better. Kind of never did. The band is interesting. There are some moments where the band steps up. We got Ben Keith, Spooner Oldham, Duck Dunn, Keltner's on it, some backing vocals from Peggy, and I think it's his son, or his sister, Astrid. Chrissy Hind is a guest vocal on a song. So the band is okay, but I, at times in like an 18-minute Cowgirl, or they play words. It's an 11-minute words. How awesome is that? You kind of miss Crazy Horse. Kind of miss that thing they bring when Neil decides to just jam out on guitar for minutes at a time. And I think there's a little bit of that heaviness or a little bit of whatever that is that Crazy Horse does that nobody else does. Some of that is like, as we're 12 to 13 minutes into a Cowgirl in the Sand, I'm just like, just something's missing, just something's lacking. And then there's the songs that are on here. 8 songs, which you really can't make a mistake with 8 songs. You got 2 sort of straight up classics. Cowgirl in the Sand, it's the opener, 18 minutes. I like this. I enjoy this. I like to hear what Neil has to say. There's dynamics and that, some solos are straightforward. Sometimes he seems like he breaks it down. Sometimes he ants it up. Sometimes he gets a little do, like little picky and all that kind of weird stuff. Nice opening. Kind of seems like he's going to go into Like a Hurricane. At first, he does that thing where he's just kind of fooling around with notes before the drums come in. And at one point, it does sound like he's going to go down there, down there, down there. And you can hear someone in the audience go, like a hurricane. Not like a request, but like, I recognize that note. And then immediately the drums come in and we're off into Cowgirl in the Sand. I like the Cowgirl in the Sand. I think it maybe is more effective if it's where it goes as an encore spot. It's kind of weird to like come out and just bludgeon the listener with 18 minutes of Neil and then expect things to like go normal after that. But it's a good track. And so that's one of the classic cuts. The other one is Tonight's the Night. And something doesn't work about this Tonight's the Night. I don't know what it is. Ben Keith has some really good slide playing in here. And I think there's some good guitar moments. But there is something where like a lot of times when he drops a Tonight's the Night, either on a live release or in an actual show, it's like either on disc 2 of the release or it seems like it's way towards the end of the show. Because there's this wariness about Tonight's the Night, this sort of like weird exhaustion that I think is in the DNA of the song because of when it was recorded, back in the 70s, people he knows ODing early and dying early deaths and just the wariness of the recording. And like the song just has it in its DNA. And I don't think we get that like end of the show. Let's just push through this as long as we can. Just that kind of struggle. Tonight's the night. Something's lacking in this performance. Part of it, I think, is because we don't get the entirety of the show before that. We don't get that just exhaustive journey of songs where by the time you reach this, you're like exhilarated and happy, but still it's like this song is now here and we got to face this. I don't know. It's something about it just doesn't work. There are much better Tonight's the Nights out there. So you get those 2 songs. The first song, opener, Cowgirl in the Sand. Tonight's the Nights, the penultimate song. You get a new song, Fool for Your Love. Short little 3-minute kind of rocky, kind of almost like, seems like it would have fit on Are You Passionate? Like it kind of sounds like maybe that was a leftover from that album. It could have worked right on there, or a leftover from what would be that album. Maybe it was written for that album and just didn't make the cut. But it's one of those songs that I feel like, I don't know, maybe could work as a deep cut on the album. Nothing too special. It's got some nice backing vocals in this. So we get that new song. It comes on, it's the 3rd track. I'll get to the actual track order in a second. We got some nice deep cuts. Walk On. I don't think we've had a Walk On release yet. This is where the sound, I think, hurts it a little. Also, this was usually really deep in the show. Here it's the 2nd song, though the 18-minute Cowgirl into Walk On kind of works. We get a, I guess that's really it. The other deep cuts are kind of deep cuts. We had Two Comes a Time song, Peace of Mind, kind of the only acoustic entry. Very much reminds me of early My Morning Jacket. I would imagine Jim James was maybe at one of these shows, or I don't know, was listening to Peace of Mind, because it very much sounds like a Tennessee Fire or At Dawn, like an early, even in It Still Moves, like an early sort of acoustic My Morning Jacket song. Very much so. And then we get the Motorcycle Mama. It's a duet. We get that vocal that's like on the album. It's a weird song. It's a weird opener. I'm not even sure it works here. I think it was my least favorite song on that album, but it's an interesting choice. I don't think we have one yet. Uh, we get a cover, All Along the Watchtower. Chrissie Hynde, who does like a verse or two. Don't really think she has much of an impact. And I will say this. I recently listened to 26 different versions of All Along the Watchtower from Bob Dylan and the band. And I've decided that other than maybe some like absolutely incendiary Hendrix versions, the best versions of this song live are Bob Dylan and the band knocking out a 3 minute and 20-second All Along the Watchtower with Robbie Robertson's just tightly volatile guitar licks that are just mind blowing. Like in 3.5 minutes, so much is accomplished by Dylan and the band on that 74 tour. I think every other All Along the Watchtower I've heard since, I've heard a couple, and I think every one I will hear since will just seem bloated. Just like, nah, you don't need an 8 minute All Along the Watchtower. You don't need those big crunchy chords. You need whatever Bob Dylan and the band were playing. And this one just doesn't do it for me. I don't ever need to hear All Along the Watchtower again by anybody other than Dylan and the band. Though there is a space in my heart for the Dead versions. I think the Dead versions bring the appropriate amount of energy. So I'm going to give them a pass. But really, I'm done with Watchtower as a cover song. Stop playing it, people. Just stop. Just stop. But then we get, I think, the highlight of the album, 100%. We get an 11-minute Words. Absolutely awesome. It's nice and jammy and extended, and just Neil takes his time. It's got those awesome like tempo shifts, that like slow beginning. We drop it in the actual song. Absolutely fantastic. Words should have been played way more often throughout his career. Unfortunately, it's on this release. It's buried deep in the middle. The sound doesn't do it many favors, though it's still a really good performance. It's just a frustrating listen. This is the actual order of the songs. Cowgirl in the Sand opens 18 minutes. Walk On, Fool for Your Love, the new song. Peace of Mind, the acoustic 5-minute song. Words, epic jam. Motorcycle Mama, opener for every song on tour. Here it's song number 6. Tonight's the Night, which I don't think really does it for me. And All Along the Watchtower, which I'm done with. I don't ever need to hear that song again. That gets a weird listen. Bad props for the track list. I think the only song that's ever been Cowgirl in the Sand, Tonight's the Night. I don't think those other songs, I'm not sure we've got a live Walk On, unless it's in like an archives release, but I don't think it's been an official release. If we did, it's like one. Fool for Your Love, obviously, Peace of Mind, Words. We don't got live Words out there that's been officially released, maybe on the archives. A lot of archives I'm forgetting right now. Motorcycle Mama, we don't need. Yeah, it's just a weird listen. Like, I never go back and listen to it. I actually forgot all about this one, and then I was like going through the chronology, going, what was released after Silver and Gold? Oh, that's right. I forgot about Road Rock. I don't ever listen to this. I doubt I'm going to go back and listen to it again. It's just a lot of little things that aren't adding up to something. A lot of little things that are bad that are undermining the things that could be good. So yeah, those are my really, really confused thoughts on this album. Like, I want to like it. Like, I look at the track list. I'm like, that's a pretty good track list. But something's wrong. It's just something. There's a DVD of this. I've never seen it. I've heard it's really good. It's of the tour. I think it's Just of Red Rock show, which is pretty special venue if you've never been to Red Rocks. There's an example of an amphitheater much different than all the other ones in this country. If you've ever seen, I might check it out now. I usually don't sit and watch those things. Not for every band, but I don't think this album inspired me to go seek it out. But I've sort of recently read good things that the actual DVD is better than this weird release. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say. Don't know what else to say about this. I honestly can't recommend it. I mean, if you do streaming, if you're it's on YouTube, I'm sure. I know it's on, yeah, it's on YouTube Music. So if you're one of those people who already streams music, maybe check it out, share your thoughts. Really, I think the only thing worth checking out for sure is the words. And if you really like Indulgent Neo solos, the 18-minute Cowgirl on the Sand. Yeah, but that's it. I'm rambling. Eventually, I will rank this with all the other live things. It's going to be towards the bottom of the list, people. That's just where it's going to be. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this album. Peace. Talk to you later.